The SIG P226 XFive Legion is one of those guns that generates a whole lot of discussion pretty much every time it's brought up. Some people see the price tag and immediately just write it off, and others of course claim that it's one of the best shooting factory pistols and it's the best thing since sliced bread. And after putting 1,000 rounds through it, I can honestly understand like both sides of that argument. This isn't going to be a video where I tell you this is the greatest thing ever made, and it's also not going to be that kind of video where I just nitpick it because of the price. Instead, I want to talk about what this gun actually does well, where I think SIG made some pretty questionable decisions, and whether or not I think it justifies its place in the market and in your gun safe. So let's get into it. The SIG P226 traces its roots back to the early 1980s when SIG Sauer developed it as an entry into the US military's XM9 pistol trials. While the Beretta 92 ultimately won that contract and became the M9, the P226 impressed evaluators with its reliability, durability, and accuracy. The P226 performed just as well as the Beretta 92, but the guys at Beretta underbid the guys at SIG, so they ended up ultimately getting the contract. The SIG P226 is built on the proven design of the earlier SIG P220. The P226 featured a double-stack magazine, increasing the ammunition capacity while retaining the smooth double single-action trigger system that SIG pistols were very well known for at the time. Its reputation quickly grew among different militaries, law enforcement units, and civilian shooters around the world. And one of the pistol's most notable adoptions came from the US Navy SEALs, who used the P226 for decades and helped cement its status as one of the most respected combat handguns that was ever made. And over the years, SIG Sauer has released numerous variants, including railed models, enhanced competition versions, and modern Legion series pistols. Today, more than 40 years after its introduction, the P226 remains a benchmark for metal-framed service pistols and continues to be valued for its reliability, accuracy, and proven track record. So guys, before I jump into the SIG P226 XFive Legion, I do want to give a special shout out to my boy Anthony. He let me borrow this pistol for this review, so I just want to say thank you, Anthony. I really appreciate it, man. And we're going to jump right into it, y'all. So the very first thing I noticed when I picked up the XFive Legion was the weight. This gun is incredibly heavy. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, a lot of what makes this gun shoot very well comes directly from that weight, of course, to absorb all that recoil. But if you're used to any sort of polymer frame guns or smaller guns, even some full-size duty pistols, you'll immediately notice how substantial the SIG XFive Legion feels. This thing is so dense, and what makes it feel like a more competitive gun than any sort of service pistol like the P226 is well known for. The second thing that I noticed was the finish. Pictures don't quite do it justice. The Legion has a very unique appearance that sits somewhere between like a matte gray and green depending on the lighting you're in. And more importantly, it gives the pistol a premium feel without looking too flashy or crazy. There aren't any sort of bright colors, there aren't any giant logos except for the X5 lasered into the gun. The gun is clean looking, that still stands out from a standard P226. Before I even fired a round through it, it already felt like a serious gun. So, what do you get in the box? The package itself is very straightforward, which I like. You get the pistol, you get 3 20-round Metgar magazines, and for this specific one that I have here, it has come equipped with the Delta Point Pro optic. You also, of course, get your paperwork, the lock no one uses, all that stuff. There's nothing particularly groundbreaking here. And at this price point, some people might expect a few extra goodies or anything like that, but honestly, that's not what I really care about personally. I'd rather have the money spent on the gun itself than a bunch of accessories that end up just sitting in a drawer, kind of like the whole Canic deal. So we're going to start with the frame because I think that's where this pistol gets a lot of its character from. The first thing that you're going to notice is going to be these TXG grip panels on here. And SIG did a really good job with making these grip panels feel really good, especially when you're sweating or your hands are wet or anything like that. Pretty much every single time that I was using this pistol, I was sweating excruciatingly so. And, you know, I was able to have a very solid grip on the pistol because of those TXG grip panels. They are G10, so you can swap those out if you so wish to. With the frame, you also get a little bit of an undercut. You also get a little bit of stippling at the front of the grip and the bottom of the trigger guard, which is really nice. And also, I think in the front of the trigger guard as well. You also, of course, have your accessory rail. obviously, you know, that needs no explanation. Place where you can attach your lights and lasers or anything like that. So talking about the gas pedal on here, which is pretty substantial on this pistol, it's really nice. I do think it serves its purpose. I just wish that this pistol didn't have it. So the reason why is just because I'm not a big fan of gas pedals. I would much prefer some sort of just flat texturing on there, just so I have a reference point where I know I can point my thumb, which would be really cool. But, you know, it's not bad. It does what it's supposed to do, but I would just prefer if it wasn't on there. Starting off with the controls, we have the magazine release. The magazine release on this pistol is really good. I will say it's kind of big, and I did accidentally drop a mag once, so you're just going to want to rework your grip potentially so you're not accidentally hitting that magazine release if you are. But not the biggest deal. It's something you can train around, of course. You also have the safety on here. The safety is ambidextrous. It feels really, really good. It's not very stiff out of the box, so it did perform very well. I'm very happy with it. And with the slide release, this is one of the pros and cons of this pistol. And the reason why that is because the slide release is placed in a position where you shouldn't accidentally keep the slide from locking back on that last round. Because of that, it is in a weirder position, which pretty much just means as you're doing your reloads to activate the slide release, you're going to have to kind of fumble fuck your hands and your grip a little bit. That's what I had to do. Not the biggest deal. It's something that you can, of course, train past, but it's something that I just want you guys to be aware of. It is in a weird position, but you won't accidentally keep your slide from locking back. Talking about the trigger. The trigger on here is really, really nice. I'm a big fan of it. The reason why this trigger is so good, you have a very, very light break, very little take up, and also with this trigger, it's completely adjustable and you can change whatever you want about this trigger. It's 3-way adjustable, so that's really cool. The trigger just feels good to press. The trigger on this gun is just so nice. I am a big fan of it. So moving up to the slide, this is where that more premium feel definitely comes from too, because the machining on this is just excellent. The slide feels incredibly smooth. The serrations are okay. They're not the best. The reason why is just because they're not very deep. I did find with my hands getting sweaty, it was a little harder to grip on them, but you know, not the biggest deal. It's not something that I'm gonna ding this gun so much for. It's more of a nitpick than anything else. There's absolutely nothing on this gun that feels cheap at all. The compensator obviously gets so much attention too because it's visibly one of the most distinctive parts of the gun. And yes, it absolutely contributes to keeping the gun shooting a little flatter. Now, I will say how this gun shot compared to my Kimber 2K11 that I had. I like the Kimber 2K11 just a little bit more, but I'm biased, guys. I prefer 2011s. This did shoot amazing. Now, in terms of the actual porting that you have on here, you have these dual ports. I would have just preferred a single port. I think they perform so much better than any other porting out there, but that's just my 2 cents. And the way they do it's a little bit weird. So it's not a 5-inch barrel that is just cut up at the end to be used as porting. All of the machining is done into the slide. There's nothing done in the barrel, which is pretty interesting. Overall, I do think they did a very good job up top. They did very well with making this pistol very accurate, which I will show you guys right here.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I'm gonna try to hit this steel 50 yards. Emphasis on the try. I tried.
Now, onto another thing that I'm just not a big fan of with this pistol, and that is going to be the optic system. The SIG 226 and the way SIG does a lot of their optics, they come with the Delta Point Pro footprint or the SIG Pro footprint or whatever they call it. I understand why they picked it. I mean, the Delta Point Pro has been around for a very, very long time. It's very proven. It's very durable. A lot of people like it, and I'm just not one of those people. The issue isn't necessarily that the optic itself is bad. I just don't prefer the footprint. The market has largely shifted towards using Armor pattern optics in all of the variants that stem from that pattern. And by choosing the Delta Point Pro footprint, your optic choices are a little bit more limited if you want a direct mount option. You can make it work, of course. You can also buy plates, but I'm just not a big fan of plates personally, just because you're just stacking screws on screws, and plates they always seem to walk out after a certain amount of of time. So I just don't prefer plates. I don't like them. If I can avoid them, I will absolutely avoid them at all times. It's not a bad footprint. It's not something that is a horrible decision. I would have just preferred having an RMR footprint. So in terms of reliability, pretty boring. There wasn't much to report here. I did shoot 1,000 rounds for this review. It was just boring when it came to its reliability. The gun performed very well. The gun shot every single time. I never had any issues with anything coming loose or anything like that. This gun, it did what it was supposed to do. And for $2,000, that gun better be reliable. And that's just kind of how I feel. Now, something like a 2011, you kind of have to take care of them. And if you don't do that, that's not really the gun's fault. But something like this, I would expect it to perform very well. By no means is 1,000 rounds a long-term or any sort of longevity type of review. I just want to let you guys know for the period of time that I've had it, for this 1,000 rounds, it performed incredibly well and I had no issues. So the magazines do deserve their own section just because they are very good. They're excellent. And these are MechGar magazines, and that's good news because MechGar has one of the best reputations in the industry when it comes to making magazines. And if you've been around handguns long enough, you know that magazine quality can absolutely make or break your platform. It's a big thing with 2011s. And for the period of time I had this, of course, the magazines were completely uneventful. And again, that's exactly what you'd want. They feed reliably, they lock in positively, they drop free constantly. I don't have anything dramatic to report about the magazines because they simply just did what they're supposed to do. And you also get 3 of them, and they're 3 20-round magazines, which is awesome. When people talk about pistol accuracy, I think it's important to separate like mechanical accuracy from practical accuracy. Mechanically, the gun is very capable of shooting far better than you or I can, more than likely. And the more important question here is how easy is it to shoot accurately? And that's where the XFive Legion shines. This pistol is incredibly accurate. It's very easy for me to shoot this gun. And the combination of just the weight of it, the trigger, how it balances, and the compensator just makes it so much easier to keep rounds on target. It's like shooting in easy mode pretty much. The gun tracks predictably. The sights return naturally. You spend a lot less time fighting the gun and more time focusing on how you're shooting. And that doesn't actually make you a better shooter, but it does make it easier to take advantage of the skills that you already have. I do find that it's incredibly easy for me to shoot this gun just picking it up out of the box. I do not shoot this gun better than something like my Glock 19, right? And that's kind of crazy because it's a smaller gun, doesn't have as good of a trigger. There's just a lot of things holding it back, but I just have so much time on that gun and so many rounds on that gun that I absolutely perform with that thing, and it works very well. And that's why I carry it, is because I know I can do very good with it no matter what. Little side tangent there. But this gun is incredibly amazing in terms of how accurate it is and how easy it is to shoot. So guys, some things I did kind of forget to mention is that you do get night sights on here that you can use. And if yours comes with a Delta Point Pro model, you can of course change that out and use iron sights if you want to, but they are nice iron sights. They're not bad. They're night sights. They work. They do what they're supposed to do. I just will run a red dot every time. So what are my final thoughts on the P226 XFive Legion? Especially after putting 1,000 rounds through it and it running reliably, we know the gun is going to perform. The P226 itself has a long reputation and has been used for a very long time by people doing some very serious work. So the weight of it makes it feel incredible. The finish is great on it. The triggers are excellent. The magazines are reliable. The gun obviously ran, but at the same time, it's not perfect. There are some things that I don't like. Personally, I would much rather run a 2011. That does not go to say that this is a bad gun. If you like the P226, you are going to love this gun. I like the P226. I just prefer a different gun. So guys, if you want something that's going to be reliable, work very well for you, if you want something that you can have fun with and play around with, or run in competitions and potentially use it as a home defense gun. The reason why I say you might be able to use it as that, of course, is just going to be because of how easy it is to shoot. It's also very reliable. I would prefer this as a home defense gun over a 2011, personally. Now, I do think there are far better guns for that, but if this is your only gun, you're not making a bad choice. Also, with the price tag of this thing, it shoots exactly how I'd expect it to. There's some things that I don't like, but it's more nitpicking than the gun actually being bad or it being a flaw. This gun is coming in at around 2,000 units of measure without any sort of optics. This one that has the Delta Point Pro on is coming in between 23 and 2,400 units of measure. I'm sure you can find it for cheaper if you look on the street, but this is a great gun, guys. I'm a big fan of it, and I think it will serve you very well if you're looking to plink, of course, if you're looking to run any sort of competitions, or if you want a really solid home defense gun. I would not conceal carry this thing. I wouldn't recommend it personally. It's just huge and very heavy. You're not going to conceal carry this thing if you have it unless you're just a monster or a demon. Just be aware of that, guys. I do like the pistol. I'm pretty impressed with it, and it has me kind of opening my eyes up a little bit more to picking up one of these because it's a really good pistol. I'm a big fan of it. But all right, guys, that about does it from me today. I really hope you liked what I had here for you today on the SIG P226 XFive Legion. If you guys have one of these, let me know how you feel about it in the comments, or if you're just running any sort of SIG P226, let me know how you feel about it in the comments. I'd love to hear your guys' experience with this thing. Also, guys, if you liked the video today, please leave a like, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I'm trying to build the channel and deliver you guys more good content. If you have any suggestions for video ideas, guys, please leave them in the comments. I really appreciate it. It's something that I can focus on if you leave it in the comments and try to make that a possibility for y'all. So if you have any suggestions, just throw it in there, and I'll be more than happy to make something like that for you guys. Guys, I just want to say God bless you. God bless your families. I want to say thank you to Abby for helping me to record this video, and I also want to say a big thank you and a big shout out to Anthony for letting me borrow his pistol. I really appreciate you, bro. Thank you very much again. Guys, I love y'all. Stay safe, and God bless you. Bye-bye.
Don't touch my catalytic converter. Oh, fuck. One more time. Don't touch my catalytic converter.